Well, good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. Matt MRE back again. Back to with a vlog video for today. I know I'm starting this kind of late. It's actually almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is Thursday, March 31st, 2016. I was actually pretty busy this morning. I did get a chance to go out to the thrift store and the Dollar Tree, though I really didn't find anything too spectacular at either place. I did pick up a really large LA's Totally Awesome dishwashing liquid detergent, basically the one that you put in the hand pump. Dollar Tree is turning 30 years old this year, and to celebrate their 30 years, they're actually doing a kind of a special. They're increasing the size of certain products they have, one of those being the LA's Totally Awesome products. So you're going to get larger laundry detergents, larger dish detergents. They actually just released a larger oxygen cleaner, which I think it used to be like 20 ounces, and now it's up to 32 ounces. They also increased the size of their medications. Like Dad and I at night take Benadryl, or diphenhydramine it's called, basically to control our allergies. And I'll show you what the old one looks like. I haven't actually picked up any of the new ones yet. This is the old package here. This is the Assured Allergy, and as you can see, it has 36 capsules. Well, the new ones they're coming out with have 50. So 50 of these for $1 is an excellent deal, and I have used these for years. I cannot tell any difference between this and the actual Benadryl brand. I know there is some controversy about buying cheap dollar store medications, but as most of you guys know, Dollar Tree is now pretty much a worldwide organization, a company, and their medications are always safe, and they are updated. This one actually doesn't expire till December of 2017, so I feel fairly confident in taking these medications. Now, if you are concerned, just go ahead, and I always recommend you do your own research, but from what I've seen, people really like this brand. Got another kind of a surprise for you guys. It's actually a surprise for me too. I did some computer work for a friend of mine that lives fairly close, and he's a little bit down his luck. He doesn't have a lot of money at the moment, and he said, "Well, would you be willing to barter?" And I said, "Well, sure. I've done that in the past. I probably spent a good maybe 2-3 hours over there." He had some issues with his router. He had a Verizon Fios router, one of the newer ones, actually one of the really nice gigabit ones. But all of a sudden, his he had a desktop and a laptop. The laptop and the desktop were both connect via Ethernet, and the laptop was getting internet connection, but the desktop wasn't. So I started with all the usual troubleshooting. I checked the Ethernet card in the desktop. That tested fine. I did some virus scans to make sure there wasn't an infection in there that might be blocking the connection. Then I went and actually started looking at the router, and it turns out the problem was the router. What I'm thinking happened, he may have had a surge at one time, and it actually corrupted the memory in the router. So what I actually had to do was, behind most routers, you'll see a little red or blue button that's kind of indented. You take a little pen or a pin and you push and you hold that in there. It's basically a reset button. You do that for 30 seconds. Once I did that, I was able to fully restore the router. You do have to set it up again. So basically I had to enter in the router, a new router password, new admin password, also a SSID name and a password for that. But once I did that, it was working just fine again. So trying to make a long story short here, on my way out, he showed me some different things that he had that he wanted to barter. And when we got downstairs, I noticed a whole box, actually quite a few boxes of MREs. And I knew he was a military guy, and I asked him about it, and he said, yeah, when I was in the military I got these, and he eats them a lot of times for dinner because they're really good and they're very nutritious. So I wound up getting 6 of these. These are meals ready to eat. They're made by the Americol Packaging in Evansville, Indiana. You guys can read it there if you're interested. These are definitely going to be the topic of their own video. I'm going to do a food review on these. There's quite a few different flavors here. This is menu number 24. This one is meatloaf and gravy. I got menu number 18, which is the marinara sauce with meatballs. This one is menu number 19, beef roast with vegetables. This, I'm assuming, is basically like roast beef. Let's see what we got here. Menu number 23, this is chicken with cavatelli, which is a type of pasta. You can see that right up there. And then I got, this is menu number 20, menu item number 20. This is spaghetti with meat sauce. This will definitely be the one I give to Dad because he is a spaghetti fanatic. And last but not least, this is menu number 22. This is chicken and dumplings. Now, I looked the dates up on these. Most of these date from about 2007 or 2008. So they're pushing 10 years old. So I am going to have to eat these fairly quickly. If you do some, I actually did some research online after I got home to find out how long these are supposed to last. Ideally, they'll last about 5 years, and that's for the best taste. But if they're stored in cold storage, which these were, they will last up to 10 years. So figure most of these were made between 2007 and 2009. They're going to be pushing that. So I'm definitely going to do that video fairly soon, hopefully within the next couple of days. And I've always wanted to review MREs. I find these things really interesting, and I've never had a chance to eat one of these. So look forward to this. I may do multiple reviews on these. I'll probably start with something like the meatloaf and gravy, and then maybe I'll go ahead and do a review of my dad. I'm going to have him eat the meatballs and the marinara sauce. So a lot of exciting things coming up very shortly. One other thing, my power supply did come in today. This is the one from Newegg. I got this. This is the one for the gateway system over there. You can see the box actually says Newegg on it. I'm going to go ahead and open this up really quick, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. Like I said, this is a Logisys brand, and I wound up paying about $23.99 for it, so not a bad deal, and that was after shipping as well. So let me go break into this box and show you what I got. Okay, so I got the box open here. Huh. That's interesting. I know that they tend to send some freebies once in a while, and it looks like that's what's happened to me here. I have a $20 gift certificate from something called Blue Apron, which is kind of interesting. I'll give you guys a little closer look there. It says, incredible ingredients, make incredible meals, and see what it says here. Create your healthy gourmet recipes. I guess this is like one of those companies that sends you food through the mail. I see pictures here of steak, fish, this is burgers. So they got some peppers and carrots. Looks pretty interesting. I'll have to look into that later. I've never actually heard of that company before. But that's not what you guys are here to see, right? Let's go ahead and pull this power supply out here. And they did package it well. They put a lot of these, what are these called? Cello air cushions. Unfortunately, this one's kind of gotten little cuts, so this one's starting to lose its air. But here we are. This is the Logisys 480 watt, 120 millimeter ball bearing fan power supply. And let's bring you guys in for a closer look. All right. So here is the box for the power supply. As you can see, this is the kind that has the one large fan on the bottom, as opposed to having the fan actually built into the back of the power supply. And I do prefer these because these tend to circulate a lot more air in the system. And of course, the more air you have circulating, the better cooling your system will have. And of course, this computer being a AMD system, they do tend to run a little bit hotter than Intel-based computers. So that's really a nice feature. Supports ATX 20 plus 4 pins, so this does the 24 pin power connector, which I do have on that motherboard and I will be utilizing. This has dual SATA, so 2 SATA ports. Once again, that's all I need for that computer right now, but if I do wind up putting another hard drive or an optical drive in there, I do have cables that'll allow me to convert the old Molex connectors to SATA, the 4-pin Molex. And quiet and efficient. Now that's debatable. The reviews for this particular power supply were very good, except The one complaint some people had was that it did tend to run kind of loud. So I guess we'll find out once I install this power supply, but it looks decent. It has a good amount of weight to it, as you can see on here. I'll show you guys some of the specs. It says it's, get a better thing here, 4-pin 12-volt power connector for P4, so it's got the P4 4-pin connector. Over voltage protection, over power protection, which is, both of those are very important. Over voltage protection will protect the board from surges, especially if you get a surge come through your main power line. Over power protection, they're pretty much the same thing. This is more like if a device is malfunctioning and it's is sucking in too much power, the power supply can see that and it'll act accordingly. Short circuit protection. 100% high pot and function. I'm not exactly sure what that is. 100% burn-in under high ambient temperatures, 50 degrees Celsius. Basically, that means this power supply had been run for a certain amount of time. Usually it's 2 weeks in a very high temperature setting to test that all the components could handle that kind of temperatures. What else we got here? Low noise and ripple and Energy Star efficient. So let's go ahead and open this up real quick. And I'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay, first of all, get the regular power cord. This is just a regular 3-pin desktop power cable. Doesn't seem to be too well made though, so I'll probably just discard that. And then of course we have the power supply itself. There's that big giant 120 millimeter exhaust fan, which will hopefully circulate a lot more air than the old power supply that was in there. Go ahead and try and get this open for you guys. Now, one thing I'm hoping is, I'm really hoping that the 2 SATA ports are on separate connector rails, because that's the way it's going to have to work on my system. But we'll see. We'll see what we have here. Okay. Well, I can get that off later. This is a 8-pin, this is for a video card, 8-pin video card power connector, which I will not be using because the GeForce GT640 that I have in that computer is a low power model and doesn't actually require an external power source, but that's nice to have anyway. Let's see what else we got here. We have the 2 SATA ports here, which unfortunately are on the same cable, which is not good for me. That means I'm going to have to use one of my adapters, but that's fine. I'm totally prepared for that. We have a 6-pin power connector for the motherboard. Some of the new motherboards, instead of using the 4-pin P4, use a P6 or a 6-pin power connector. I'm assuming these are the Molex connectors. We'll go ahead and see if that's indeed what they are. Yep, we got 2 regular old ID Molex connectors and 1 mini floppy drive connector. Forgive me, I don't remember the proper name for these. It's been a long time. Oh wow. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I guess they were wrong on the listing, because as you can see, there are 2 more SATA connectors on here. So this particular power supply actually has 4 SATA connectors. That's really nice. That means that I am not going to have to use an adapter. I really, really like that. And of course, there is the 24-pin ATX power connector. I could say it's not the best built power supply I've ever seen, but it does have a nice weight. Ball bearing fan looks like it's in good shape. You can see that I'm swiveling it here. The fan's going back and forth. It doesn't look like it's binding up. And that's a good test that it's free like that. That means it's not going to make a lot of noise when you put it in your computer. I've actually had power supplies that I purchased brand new like this, where the fan, the bearings were already on their way out. So when you turn the computer on, it sounded like a jet taking off, literally. There's some vents on the back here. You have your switch here for 115 or 220 volts. That's the European voltage. Of course, being here in the United States, we use the 110 or 115. Your port for power cord, and then a nice on-off switch. So yeah, I must say, I am very impressed with this so far. I'll go ahead and show you guys the sticker. You can pause the video if you want to read that, read the information on there. Basically, just gives you it basically tells you the different voltages. 3.3 volts are at 28 amps, 5 volts at 36 amps. And once again, you guys can read the rest of this basically for yourselves. The date of manufacture on this is 12 of 2015, so it's quite a few months old now, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead and stick this in the computer and we'll see how it works. Alright guys, so I'm inside the Gateway GT5656 getting ready to replace the power supply. And I just had to make a video about this because this really gets my goat. And I know this is going to become sort of a rant. I hope you guys don't mind, but just kind of want to vent. Modern day computers, I'll tell you, the people that engineer and build these things have no idea what they're doing. And I'll show you why. Take a look here and see how close the ATX power connector on the motherboard is to that drive rail. I can barely get my finger in there to unplug it. I may even have to take out the whole hard drive cage. I'm going to try to do it really quickly. Yeah, see, I can't even get my finger in there to pull that out. I don't understand why they don't work better with the motherboard manufacturers. There are many other places on this board that power connector could have been put. You could have put it right here. It could have been moved with the floppy drive connector, which, let's face it, you're probably never going to use a floppy drive in this computer because there is no spot in this computer for a floppy drive. I just had to say something about that because that is just very, very bad designing on the engineer's part, and they just need to do a better job. Because the Gateway does not make the motherboards anymore, especially when this computer was manufactured, but they did make the case. One person or one team was definitely not talking to the other when they did the design for this computer. Just gets me aggravated, guys. Alright, the old power supply is out. This is that WT480 generic, no brand name piece of crap that I put in there a couple of years ago. This thing is beyond crappy. I am actually ashamed with myself for even putting this in there. And yeah, this is ready for the trash. So we are ready to install the new power supply in the system. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And hopefully everything goes well. Talk to you in a couple of minutes. Alright, so the new power supply is plugged in. I did a little bit of cable management here, nothing too crazy. I basically tied off the few wires I didn't need with a rubber band and shoved them in this empty 5 1/4 inch bay. I was able to kind of snake the P4 cable here. I'll probably try to do a better job, maybe get that kind of down in there like that, if I can. Yeah, there we go. Just to make sure everything's out of the way. And I actually snaked the SATA power and SATA data cable to the hard drive down here and kind of freed up the RAM there so the RAM will run nice and cool. I think this is ready for a try, so I'm going to go ahead and plug it in and we'll see how the new power supply works out. Alright, so everything is hooked up. Let's go ahead and turn the master power switch on. And as UXW Bill would say, smoke test. Oh, you know what would help? Turning the power switch on in the power supply. Let's see if I can find it. Okay, now that switch is on, this is going to be take 2. And what do we got? We'll say, everybody? Smoke test. Wah, wah, wah. Uh-oh. Looks like we got a problem. Better investigate this. Alright, so apparently I did not seat the P4 connector firmly in the motherboard. When I took it apart, I could obviously tell it wasn't in there tight. So I fixed that problem, and we're ready to give this another try. So this is what? This is take 3. So take 3, smoke test. Oh, we got a power indicator. That's a good sign. We're posting. see if she starts to boot. All right, she is booting up. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but so far it seems to be extremely quiet. I'm going to reach back here. Fan is definitely working for the power supply. So yeah, I would call this a successful installation. I'm very happy so far. And I'll give you guys periodic updates, tell you how this power supply is doing, but I don't really foresee any issues with this. Hopefully none in the near future. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to end the vlog here for today. It's getting kind of long. I know some of you guys say you enjoy these longer vlogs, so I will give you longer vlogs on occasion. Please remember to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.